1972 here. Of course, my name is also Brian. I go, my regular name's Brian. Anyways, I was on Facebook today and I saw a person on one of the pages that I visit. Um, he was listing his top favorite foreign language movies, and he was, um, I guess, um, well, there's a person I know on YouTube, Mike, who goes under the pseudonym Gray 1951. That's his channel, and he does these things with a few friends of his, Ian and James, and like they pick a topic. They've been doing things like, I think it's like well, maybe they've done with that, but they did one thing where they were doing, I think maybe one a week where they pick the letter A movie that starts with the letter A, and then the following week a movie that starts with the letter B, and then of course the following week a movie that starts with the letter C. But anyways, they pick these topics, and anyways, and I've watched some of their videos, and I saw this one about foreign language, and so I watched Harry Benson's one, and then I watched Ian. Who's the other? Ian. I watched Ian's, and then I watched James. And I've talked to Mike in the comments, like in his videos or when he leaves comments in my videos. So I thought I could. I don't think Mike has done his video for this, and I'm really into foreign films, and I love movies. I like American movies, European films, Asian movies. What I was going to say before European, I was going to say British, but because British films are in the English tongue, and I don't know if I know about tons of Australian films, but obviously those are in English. So I have a list here of top 10 favorite foreign language films, not spoken in the English language. I'm going to cheat here, and I'll tell you why. Well, two things I'm going to do here. I'm into Japan. I've studied Japan since I was like really young, and I want to go there, trying to save for a trip to go there. And I guess I'm not fluent in the language, but I know some words and phrases, and so I have a lot of Japanese films. So I think what I'm going to do is separate this video. I'm going to split it in two, and I'm going to show all the foreign language films I like that are not in Japanese, and then I'm going to do a separate video. Maybe I'll record that one tonight as well, because it's almost 1 a.m. right here, right now. But anyways, in that particular video, I'll show Japanese films. I might include like a Chinese film or something. So, but anyways, let's get to it. And the second thing I was going to say was, I basically have 11 films here. Maybe I'll include the 11th. I think I will, because it's kind of hard to choose. And then one of these films is from a trilogy, and basically I like all three films, but the film in the middle is the one I like the most, and it really is one of my favorite films of all time. But I'll just show it in the context of the trilogy as well, so you can get it grounding as to what it is and all that. So before I get to that, let me get to some of the other films. I tried to restrict the directors to one film per director, and I did manage to do that, except for one director. I just couldn't do it. I like a lot of his movies, or at least two of his movies a lot, and so I had to include him. So, anyways, the first one's by Ingmar Bergman. This is my personal favorite Bergman movie. It's really depressing, sort of shot like a documentary in a sense. Real downer movie. I like depressing movies, and this is a really good movie. Um, it's about a married couple. They're violinists, and their country gets invaded by another country. I think there's allusions. Is that the right word? Um, it's comparisons to like the Vietnam War at the time. I think it came out in '68. Yeah, '68. I haven't watched this in a little while. I also have this in a box set with other Bergman movies, but this was the Criterion. I had to get the Criterion, so I bought this. I think I bought this last year, but anyways, it was a. I think I got it on the Criterion flash sale. This wasn't. I don't think this was big on special features. It has a little bit of a documentary and an interview here, I think, but it's kind of a letdown in that sense. But it is one of my favorite films. Let down in the sense of the special features, not the film. The film is fantastic. But yeah, that's one. Next one, James said this is one of his favorites. I like Roman Polanski's films a lot. I could, his second film I can include as well, but since it's spoken in English, obviously I won't. But his first film, and James mentioned this as well, is Knife in the Water. Arguably, it's one of the greatest, for me, one of the greatest debut films by a film director, along with like Eraserhead by David Lynch. This is just very done very simply, and yet it's very well. It can be complex at the same time. I think it's kind of metaphoric. What the ship represents and the knife represents and the lake represents. It's like sexual connotations to it. And the husband, what happens is this married couple, they're going on a boating, a sailing weekend, and they pick up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker goes on the sailboat with them, and the hitchhiker and the husband are vying for the wife's affection. So that's like the knife in the water. It's like the conflict. So in a way, it's simple, and yet it has more. There's more underneath, you know. So it's like a knife in the water. Like there's something hidden underneath. So I highly recommend this. Another funny thing, if you want to learn a funny thing about this, is if you buy this version and you try to rewind or fast forward in the scene selection or chapter, it won't allow you to. It will only allow you to start and stop at certain points in the film. David Lynch does this too. He does Mulholland Drive and Eraserhead. I think there's no chapter breaks. There's no places where you can fast forward and well, if you stop it, I think you have to go from the start again to where you left off. Maybe that's changed now. Maybe it's different. But for my old Eraserhead DVD and my old Mulholland Drive DVD, I don't know about the Criterions exactly, but I think it's sort of the same. You had to, if you stopped it, you had this. It didn't stay where you left off. You had to, if you turned it back on, you had to fast forward all the way back to where you were before. So, just an interesting tidbit there. This is by Fassbinder. There's some other Fassbinder films that are my favorites too. There's like 3 favorites, but I'll just do this one. This film only has 6 actresses in it, and basically it's set in one bedroom. So Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant. I tore up the case for this. I did that with Casino because I thought the wrapping was it wasn't wrapping, it was the actual plastic, but I thought it was the wrapping, so I had to get another case and put it in here. That's why it's like this. But anyways, this film is about Petra von Kant, who's a fashion designer, and one of her friends, and she's about in her 40s, and one of her friends tells her about this girl named Karen, So she meets this girl named Karen, who's in her 20s, and the Petra von Kant starts getting her hopes up, and she and Karen start to have a relationship, um, and then Karen Karen leaves, and Petra von Kant is wondering, when she'll come back because she really likes her company, and then she eventually does come back, but she's not very caring about Petra von Kant or staying with her or anything. So like she asked for a plane ticket. I shouldn't give anything away. I'm It's just about this obsession she has with Karen, and then there are other actresses in the film. Her secretary, Petra von Kant's secretary, um, who's played by Herman. There's her Petra von Kant's daughter and mother that's in it. So really good movie. Depressing as hell, but really good. Then my favorite Fellini film, of course, Eight and a Half is one of my favorites, but I'm narrow it down to just one because I relate to this more. It's more pessimistic, but it's really good. La Dolce Vita, which means, well, I think the literal translation is the sweet life, but um, the translation basically is the good life, and it's about this Italian journalist played by Marcello Mastroianni, and he's covering the affairs of the celebrities and royalty and riches of rich people of Italian society, basically centered in Rome. And he's sleeping with different women every night, and he's staying up till dawn. So, like I've written lots of poems in my past, and I can relate to other areas of this film, I think. Um, and he doesn't have a great relationship with his father, which I guess didn't have at one point in my life. So I can relate to this film, and I used to have a hard time falling asleep, so I can understand this. So this is one of my favorite films of all time. Here's another Italian movie. It's by Antonioni. I could include La Ventura as well. And Mike likes Blow Up a lot. I think Blow Up's a really good movie too. Um, Maybe The Passenger, but I haven't watched The Passenger in a while. I think I tried to watch it recently. Well, not recently, maybe 6 months ago or 9 months ago, but I fell asleep. So, but I think I really enjoyed The Passenger. But that's in English, anyways, as well as Blow Up. But this is La Notte, which means the night, and it stars Marcello Mastroianni, um, Monica Vitti, who was like um, Antonioni's muse, and then it stars Jeanne Moreau, who's a French actress who's been in some. She's been in Louis Malle's Elevator to the Gallows. She was, I think, the narrator in the movie The Lover, directed by Jean-Jacques Annaud. She's been in a boatload of movies. She was in Fassbinder's last movie, but she's been in a lot of movies. And anyways, at the start of the movie, Jean Moreau and Marcello Mastroianni are a married couple, and they're visiting their sick friend in the hospital who's dying. And Marcello Mastroianni, plays this writer, and they're basically, their marriage is in tatters. They're not talking to each other, and you can see that um, Mastroianni's character is more, I don't know, um, not focusing on important things. I don't know. Like the wife, played by Jean Moreau, when at the start she cares a lot about the dying guy. So does he too. It's his friend, but she's putting more effort into um, caring about him, staying with him. And Marcello Mastroianni walks out of the room, and he sees this young woman, and well, this is I'm giving it a I'm saying a little bit of the starting, but she's putting her arms around him, um and she's going into her bedroom, her patient room, and Marcello Mastroianni is following her into the room, and then the nurses come in and swat her and put her down in the bed. Just he's sort of he's sort of like flirting with girls, and just he's not paying attention to his marriage. Um, it's a really good movie. Bergman really liked this film a lot. I think Bergman, some other directors trashed other directors' films. Their big egos, but um, or was it Godard? I think it was Bergman that liked this film a lot. So, anyways, that's La Notte. Uh, these next two are by the same director, Spanish director. I think I'll show the first film that he did that sort of uh, launched his career again. He started off making films with Salvador Dali. He made Un Chien Andalou. That's a famous film where the eye is cut out of the head. The woman, there's a woman, she's a razor is put near her eyeball, and then there's an extreme close up, and they use the cow's eye to cut that. And then he made L'Age d'Or, and both of those films were controversial for their time period. Those were silent films. And then he started making Mexican films. I think he might have made a few films in the U.S. But anyways, he came back to prominence. He made a film called Las Oblidas, which I haven't seen, but I hear is really great. But like one of the films that started launching him back into the stratosphere was this one, Viridiana, which is stars Sylvia Pinel right there, and she's joining the nunnery, but she's asked by her uncle to come to his ranch before she joins the nunnery, and he drugs her and puts her in his wife's wedding dress, and then something happens to him early in this film, and she's given ownership of the ranch, and she's trying to like create this utopia kind of place, and these beggars that live off this land that they inhabit, basically they don't take her, they don't really care. They just take advantage of her. That's what they do. So, but a really good movie. And then he made another film when he started making films in France called Belle de Jour, which is means beauty of the day in French, with Catherine Deneuve right there. Beautiful movie. Catherine Deneuve hears about prostitutes, that there's still brothels in France, and she decides to become a prostitute, but only during the day. So that's why it's called Beauty of the Day. So, but the trouble ensues, and something happens. But I won't get into it. It's a really good movie. There's more to it than that. And I have some films I have more than one version of, because of certain things, like like this one, for example. This is a commentary, some special features because it's a Criterion, but I also have a Miramax version of it, and that has another version with a different commentary. So sometimes I get films because they have commentaries, and some other versions have special features. So this and another one I'm going to show you is in that same particular case as well. So anyways, that's Belle de Jour. This is the trilogy I was talking about. This is another Polish director besides Polanski. His name is Krzysztof Kieślowski. He made, one of the films he made in his earlier part of his career was The Decalogue. He's dead now. He was a smoker. He died of, I think, lung cancer. He was a chain smoker. But anyways, he made The Decalogue. And if you look at my channel way, way, way down, you'll see my Decalogue review, which is approximately an hour long. I guess it has the most views out of all my videos on YouTube. It's at least 1,000 views on it, so which I'm amazed at. So, but anyways, um, this is probably my favorite part of Kieslowski's work, which is the Colors trilogy. Blue, White, and Red. Blue has Juliette Binoche. Red has Jean-Louis Trintignant. I'm probably butchering his name. He was in The Conformist. He was in The Great Silence. Oh, The Conformist. That's another one of my favorite foreign films. But it's in English, I guess, and in Italian. So I guess I won't include it. But anyways, there was Blue with Juliette Binoche, and you got Red with the woman from Double Life of Veronique, and she was and then Jean-Louis Trintignant, and but my favorite is White, the middle one, the second one, where this husband is gets revenge. I don't know if I'm spoiling it. His wife sues him, makes him homeless, and he's gonna square it up with her. Basically, it's a really good film. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling these things for you. I'm trying not to, but these films are worth seeing, So now we get to, I guess it's number 9. This is by Jean-Luc Godard, whose films, like David Lynch, I'm either polarized on. I'm either hate them or like them. Maybe I would find this film at the apex. I guess, is that the right word? The summit of Godard's career. Because after this, I think he made some interesting movies, but they're more philosophy theses or summaries or whatever. Maybe they weren't as entertaining as his earlier work, like Band Apart, Breathless, Alphaville. But I think this is where his intellectual and entertainment capabilities tied together and made this fantastic movie called Weekend, which I'm not quite sure if it's a comedy or if it's a serious dialogue about capitalism and communism. I'm not quite sure, but it's a really good movie. The plot of the film is this married couple. They're going to go from Paris to the countryside to murder the wife's parents and collect the inheritance. But they come up across this, how would you put it, apocalyptic atmosphere of all sorts of things happening, crazy stuff, really funny movie, and serious stuff too. I highly recommend this movie. And I have two versions of this film because I have the New Yorker, which has a commentary by David Stewart, who I also have a commentary on Breathless. Both of those commentaries are on non-Criterions. But this is the Criterion. It doesn't have tons of special features, I guess, but I guess the transfer is probably the better part of it. Really good movie. Of course, I had the DVD, but I'm not upgrading the Blu-ray. Spending too much money is just... I'm not going to spend tons and tons of money to replace things. Okay, so I'm going to go 11, but this is basically 10. I don't know if the 11th one is maybe it's one of my favorites as well. So I'll just show it as well. But anyways, number 10, Bicycle Thieves. This is directed by Vittorio De Sica. It's a neorealist film, which means it was it's shot in with actors that are not professionals, that sort of inhabit the actual roles of the people they're playing. So they, like, if in a neorealist film, if you make a film about a baker, the actor to play the baker is a baker. If you hire a banker, it's an actual banker, you know. So, um, but it's a very sad film, but very good. And if I can recommend another one by him, it's Umberto D, which is very depressing as well, about a guy, a senior citizen or old person or whatever you want to, and he has a small dog, and his landlady is upping his rent and trying to push him out of his apartment, and she wants to um, I think break the partitions of his apartment and change the parameters of the building. You know, change the architecture. So it's very very sad. So, but very very good. So, and I'll end up with this. Um, M. Fritz Lang. You know, I also like Metropolis, but that's a silent film. Technically, parts of this is silent, which make this film work great with the sound as well, because the contrast between the silence and the sound really works very well. It's about a child murderer, um, and how the authorities and the public and the mafia are getting are having problems operating due to this guy. So, okay, so that's the end of it. Peter Lorre plays the child murderer. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Um, maybe I'll do maybe I'll do the for Asian movies. So I'll do top 10 Asian movies in that particular case. Probably most of them will be Japanese. And I feel I have to do it with just Japanese or Asian movies, because there really is another plateau and another area to cover. So, anyways, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll try to put some GarageBand songs up in the near future. There's something else that, oh yeah, Mike was doing the Why Do We Buy Criterion's video. I'll try and put that up fairly soon. So thanks for watching, and I won't keep you any longer. Bye now.